that was hard for people to pronounce. It was hard to search. A few other people had the same thing going. And now I have a blog and a podcast. And so I want everything to be under Helen Denham and to be branded a little differently. So I'm re-releasing each song once a month and then bi-weekly in the spring. So yeah, I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on, but honestly, it's just, I love it. At the end of the day, it's so fun. And yeah, that's just kind of how it started.
Out of all of first, I just want to say one thing. Your family is super healthy. The fact that I love how your family like encourage you to journal, encourage you to, do the song. I mean, it sounds like what an awesome way to grow up, to be so supported. A lot of people just don't understand that. They just don't. It's just not in their DNA. And it sounds like you had a really kind of cool family.
I was very lucky, very conscious parenting, and they were very practical with me, and also just like kind of go for it. Like if you're gonna fail, like how to pick yourself up, and like we'll support you, whatever you need to do. So I'm very lucky to have their support for sure.
I mean, I think it's important that that people recognize the good things in their life like that. Like you recognize, like I had that support. I'm appreciative of it. I have gratitude for it. And you communicate that. And I think for women that are launching from college, sometimes they don't always, not just women, just in general at that age, they don't always necessarily see all the things that are all the blessings. And so I just like to remind everybody, like, okay, there's a lot of really good things. I know you're stressed, but look at all these amazing things that are happening for you, So, okay, that's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing I wanted to say is ask you about the songwriting. Is that like your favorite out of all these activities that you do, that you keep yourself busy with, that you keep your life so fulfilled? Is the singing?
Well, the thing is, like, it's funny for me. I definitely have the most fun, like, singing and everything, but I would consider myself like a writer first and foremost in all forms. So whether that's writing for the blog, writing questions and scripts for the podcast, writing songs, like writing a speech. I love words and writing, and my favorite expression of that is through music for sure. But I really feel like everything I do is interconnected, and I had this kind of existential crisis moment where who am I? Like, what am I doing? I'm doing all these things, but it really turns out that it's all very connected. It all comes down to writing, and that is a form of catharsis, and it comes out in a few different channels. So yeah, I definitely have the most fun writing and like singing. It's just, I think it's like very tribal. I encourage people to sing and dance more because we don't really do that so much anymore unless we're out at a concert, but just like sing and dance in your room. It feels so good.
It does feel so good. I love doing it. I love karaoke. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. So, okay. So what is your favorite song that you've written?
I think my favorite song is Up to Me. I wrote that. That was one of my first releases. It's coming out again in a month or so. And it's like, up to me to set the pace, up to me to end the race, up to me to take the space, up to me to end the chase, baby. So that's like a little snippet of it. But I wrote that song
so beautiful, girl. Thank you. I can't wait to come out. When it comes out, I have to get it, and I want to.
Oh yeah, it's totally your vibe.
This video too, definitely.
Yeah, it's all about, empowerment and taking responsibility for your own well-being and your life. And I wrote it after, the thing is with music, I write a lot when I'm going through something kind of traumatic or dramatic to kind of get it out. So a lot of my songs are related to relationships and love, or like big life changes. So I think I'll go through these waves of a lot of writing when something like that's happening versus like taking it easy, focusing on the blog and podcast when I'm kind of in a down phase. But yeah, so that song I wrote after a breakup, and it was like I was kind of blaming my sadness on this other person. I was kind of playing the victim. And then finally I was like, you know what? You are in control of your reality. Like everything in your life you're creating. If you want to feel this way, that's a choice. And it's totally okay to feel sad and go through those processes for a little while. But at some point it becomes suffering. And do you want to suffer or do you want to work through this? So I wrote that song as a way of empowering myself and being like, It's up to me to take the space that I need. It's up to me to change how I feel. And like, I'm a boss. I can do this. So that was my favorite song.
You're a badass.
So
I just love that because that's what that's kind of what I stand for with Supergirls too, is this empowerment. And it's so important right now. I love that. That's like perfect. Now, what genre is your music? Is it pop?
It's pop. It's like R&B kind of beats with pop. It's like pop singer-songwriter. Matt, my producer, has an amazing group called Cool Company. They have like millions of listeners. They're a big deal in my opinion, and everybody's, and they're amazing. So Matt's production, I am just so lucky to have him, because without good production, you just don't have a good song. Like, unless you are making your own instrumentals and doing all that, amazing. But I would not be an artist without Matt. And I say him, but I also have worked with a couple other amazing people. Peter Bonaventure produced my next song, Nonstop, that's coming out on the 28th. And then I also worked with Alex Britton. So everybody has their own style, but you can really see that with the right producer, you get the right kind of track for your vibe. And my primary genre, is pop. Tangent, but it falls on that.
That is so cool. I mean, it's so cool. I love it. I mean, okay, Nonstop. What is that about? What is that song about? That sounds interesting.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, that's coming out with a music video, and that's kind of like an obsession song almost. It's kind of hypnotic. So I wrote that one. I had met this guy literally I'd met him a couple times, and I was just so taken with him, and I just that just kind of inspired the song immediately. We were in the studio. We're like, what's going on? What happened this week? I was like, I met this guy, and he just I can't stop thinking about him nonstop. And I was like, oh, that's the title of a song. And so how do we get that feeling of being kind of into somebody after just meeting them and wanting to know more about them into the song? So it's kind of this hypnotic R&B track about, just being infatuated with somebody in the first meetings.
I want to see you on the Grammys next year. I want to see you.
It might take me more than a year, but maybe someday. I hope that I'll get there.
Yeah. What is your big sexy vision for your life?
That's a great question. I think that's something that's so important for all of us to think about too, is getting really clear on what we want. I'll tell you, I look at Gwyneth Paltrow, honestly, as kind of an expander for myself and somebody that I look up to, because she kind of does what I want to do, because she has this huge wellness brand. She's really advancing our consciousness, I think, and she's giving a voice to all these amazing healers who are helping us up level. And at the same time, she's also got this wonderful background in acting and singing if she wants to. So she kind of does whatever she wants. And I look at her as somebody who's actually made all of those things work. So I look at that, and I would just love to kind of have my podcast and my blog get monetized. And I'd love to be putting out music once a month with music videos eventually. And I definitely think that will happen. And I think that's just about getting really clear on that and showing up for the work every day and making sure that I compartmentalize and time manage correctly so that it all gets done. But yeah, she's somebody that I just look at as an example. I think she's great.
I love her. I love her newest stuff. Amazing. And I so agree. I love that vision too. That's super helpful. For me, that inspires me. And we have to close. So I do have to ask you one final question, although I could probably talk to you all night and learn so much from you. Okay. If you could offer one piece of advice to our young women ready to launch, what would it be?
Yeah, I think it's all about building your self-worth and stepping into that place of knowing that whatever you want, you deserve. So really doing that self-work and diving deep and saying, what story am I telling myself? Is it making me feel better? Is it turning me into the person that I want to be? Or is it holding me back? So having some tools in your tool belt for, making sure that you feel good. Our job is to feel good, because when we feel good, we do good. So focus on what makes you happy, what brings you joy, and realizing that overnight successes are not overnight successes. And I think we see that in the media a lot, and realizing that these people have years of work behind them. So just the willingness to be consistent and just knowing your worth, not being afraid to ask for what you want. And yeah, that's really it. Working on your self-worth, whether that's through meditation, whether that's through, I like to use hypnosis, emotional freedom techniques, meditation, and yoga to work on that every day. So I think having a self-care routine is super important.
Amazing. Okay. That is such a great way to end the show. Thanks again for being with us, Helen. Everybody, you got to listen to her music. You got to check her out when she releases it. I'm gonna write a blog about it when she releases it on my site. Make sure you check out her site, HelenDunham.com. And
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here, and listen to what she said. I'm going to end with Helen's words. What story are you telling yourself? Focus on happiness, happy joy. I love it, everybody. Peace and love. Until next time.